Howdy everyone, Runt9 here and welcome back to Runt9 Plays Nova Drift. This is second recording, had a 39k run that I just got trapped and some bad collision damage, so we're just restarting. What are we going to do on this one? Honestly, torrent mines are kind of fun, but I don't think I like any of these right now. We were trying to do a dart run, and so I think I would like to stick with the dart route. It's a lot of fun, and it's probably one of my favorite builds at the moment. You got Halo right out of the gate. We're looking for Firefly body, and then, excuse me, you go for some twin strikes and some double taps. There's Firefly, and this time we were able to keep some rerolls. When I was doing it before, I had to use up all my rerolls to get there. So we'll let you shoot your thing, and then just come in here and burn you as much as possible. That should do the trick. All right, nice and easy boss fight. Improved thrusters is a big one. Deadly Wake adds more burn damage, more wave clear. The most important part of that is getting to Warp Strike. Let's see here. Probably working on the rate of fire tree, and then there's Deadly Wake. Like I said, just adds a little bit more wave clear capabilities, takes out some of the riffraff without draining your shield. So, I mean, we're gonna go typical Essence Sap Gemini protocol, you know, the huge. Work on Terminate, Essence Sap. I did see Candescence there, but we'll see Candescence again. We don't necessarily need damage right now. We just need to start getting the fundamental pieces of the build ready to go. I think we'll re-roll that one. I mean, there's an early Twin Strike, and even though we don't have Obsession, an early Twin Strike is still a huge boost to what we're able to do damage-wise. Need to get our shield back off cooldown, though. We have taken a bit of bad damage. Let's see. You know what? Shield durability, I'm not against it, but I am going to re-roll that. There is Blink and Terminate. I think I'm going to grab Blink just to get that out of the way, and then, yeah, we'll pick up projectile targeting. That's definitely a big pickup. Make sure that our shots are more likely to hit even if we miss just a little bit. We definitely do want guidance. I will consider picking up Convergence on this one. I usually don't, but it does lower the velocity even more, which gives your darts more of a chance to find their way where they need to be. Terminate helps a lot, and we'll start cranking on that Gemini protocol. Taking a little bit of damage here. Not too bad, though. I mean, if you're going to give me another Twin Strike, I'll take it, especially if it means we don't have to take Obsession, since that does nerf our hull and shield. So, honestly, at this point, if that's how it's going to be, you know, 2 Twin Strikes is enough. We don't really have to go over that, and we can just focus on grabbing double taps when we see them. I actually think at this point, I'm not going to take Obsession. I will take a Revelation if it pops up, though, just because it could potentially get us some Solar Hearts or some double taps, some things like that. You know what? Go ahead and give Max Hull. We are going to want some survivability for sure. Make sure that we don't get into some testy situations. Definitely going to be looking for Warp Strike and Charge Shot. Thank you for the comment. You love to see it. And Deadly Wake plus Halo Shield plus Firefly body takes care of these missiles from behind us, no problem. Lots of good XP from that kill. And then why don't we see what we got? Honestly, at this point, go ahead and give me Burst Fire. I'm good with that. There's Gemini. That's a good pickup. Okay, so we're already going to start popping. You know, you do want Charge Shot. That's an important pickup that we do not have yet. That's a major part of this build. Since at the moment, our darts don't do much individual damage, but our Burst Fire is actually in a pretty decent spot. I'm going to take Essence Sap here. And also, like, I'm not against heavy calibers either, just because heavy calibers lower projectile velocity more, which makes targeting that much better. You do kind of worry about the recoil, but I think the increased size is kind of too good to pass up, since the more size you have, the more damage your projectiles do. You can see just how easily we were able to nuke that big O right out of the gate. Definitely grab Candescence here, definitely grab Corrosion here. Good pickups. And so, honestly, with the burst fire we got going on, we're in a pretty good spot. Again, getting to charge shot is going to be an important one. Getting warp strike is going to be important because you see a lot of shots are floating off the screen. Lowered projectile velocity, so picking up guidance and maybe convergence. You know, I think we may want to pick up convergence whether we like it or not. You know, it is going to be an overall DPS increase and definitely helps from a targeting perspective, which I think is important, you know, making sure that your darts are able to actually accurately hit enemies without you having to be 100% accurate. You know, it compensates for having to focus on dodging while still wanting to fire every time that you can. Yeah, let's grab magnitude. We need to start working on the line to get charge shot. That's just such an important pickup for this build. I'm a little bit tired right now, but I gotta say, fun stream today. You know, Emmy and I decided that RL craft was not necessarily what we wanted to do in Minecraft. So if you're not aware, over on twitch.tv/Runt9plays, I play co-op Sundays with friends or Emmy, who is my wonderful girlfriend. And so for the past couple weeks, we've been doing some co-op of Minecraft. Last week, we tried out the RL craft mod, and it was a bit much. We spent most of the time dying and stressing, and it just ended up, you know, A, not being entertaining, and B, not being a lot of fun. And so this week we're like, well, we still like the thought of playing Minecraft, so let's figure out how to do it better. And so we went through the process of starting with the roguelike Dungeons and Adventures mod, which if you guys have watched Team Unity Tuesday with Northern Lion, Dan Geasley, Michael Ale Fox, and Dumb Dog, then you have seen them play that mod pack. And you know that there was definitely a lot of crazy additions. So we took some stuff out, toned it down a bit. Oh, there's Charge Shot, and Splinter is available as well. Big pickups here. So we took out a lot of mods that we realized just weren't necessarily what we wanted out of a playthrough right now. And there we go. Look at the Scion dying super quickly. We're popping already. Don't even have any double taps. Honestly, we may not even need the double taps. I mean, I do think we're going to take Convergence here because I don't think it's going to hurt us much to ensure that our projectiles can hit their targets better. Calibrate will grab that one, reduce his spread, and increase his targeting. It does increase velocity as well. You do have to be careful with it, which is why Warp Strike is so important. As is lowering velocity in other ways, like with heavy caliber and stuff like that. So yeah, we ended up having a great time today. You know, we found a village pretty early on. We're able to hole up in one of their houses. You know, I was able to do some strip mining, find some diamonds, like only an hour and a half into the stream. And we spent a good chunk of the first hour just figuring out like, okay, so this is what this mod's about. This is how this works. That kind of stuff. Finding some neat stuff. Snipe, we already have Blink, so it gets us closer to... There's Warp Strike. Huge pickup. I mean, this is basically just... The build is going to play itself at this point. We're good to go. So I'm going to mostly just stop talking about the game. You guys have seen this build before. You know how it works. There's not a lot to focus on at this point. So yeah, we had a good time with it. And like now it's just a matter of, do we want to keep going or just kind of play a little bit on our own time and, you know, switch up the co-op Sundays? So, you know, a little bit tired just because it was a little stressful trying to pack that in right before the stream, because I started looking at what to do with the mod pack about 3 hours before the stream started. Just gonna be honest with you. We'll actually grab a double tap here. And so I definitely was like sprinting back to my computer after helping get her computer set up. like as the intro to the stream finished. Like I had already gone live and was playing intro music. But no, it ended up being a lot of fun. And so if you guys are not aware, you know, I did start streaming on Saturdays and Sundays. Saturdays, we've been playing a little bit of City Skylines. It's for Single Game Saturday, which is basically a way to play more campaign focused or, you know, longer lasting games. We play one game the whole 3 hours. And then Sundays have been co-op Sundays. And, you know, we've been doing that for 2 weeks now. And definitely, like, I'm enjoying having those streams as well. I like having more content to put out. It's been very nice. And so, you know, if you aren't, you know, someone who has checked out the Twitch streams yet, you know, maybe that type of content is more up your alley than the way it's been going before. I will grab Absorption. That gets us towards Rancor. And then Core Shielding is something that is of interest so that we can get some Solar Hearts ticking here pretty soon. And so we are definitely doing plenty of damage here. Just kind of sit here, dodge what you can. There we go, got the kill. So yeah, the Saturday and Sunday streams happen at 2 p.m. Central Standard Time, as opposed to the usual 5 p.m. during the week. So that's also part of it, is it is in a different time slot. But yeah, definitely go check it out. See if you enjoy that type of stuff. And the VODs are coming to YouTube as well. So if you aren't able to make the streams, you can still check them out here as well. I know last Nova Drift episode, I was talking about the food shortage that we were running into in the house, and it is getting worse. Because unfortunately, like, I'm still dealing with some of the COVID-like symptoms, and I don't want to go out in public because I don't want to potentially risk getting anyone sick. Whether I wear a mask and gloves and all that or not, I'd still be worried about it spreading because it doesn't stop 100% of it. It does help, but it's not perfect. And so, you know, we're trying to figure out how long do we have to wait, you know, making sure that Emmy is not necessarily going out as much either, because obviously there's the very likely potential that she could be asymptomatic if I do have COVID and infected her. And so, you know, we're dealing with that, but it's been nice. Actually she went out and got Freebirds last night, which was really nice. And for the first time ever, I'm like, you know what? I've never done it before, but I always get a monster and eat the whole thing and stuff myself silly. What if I get a super monster, cut it in half and save half? Maybe that'll end up working better. Splinter's a huge pickup, by the way. Fundamental part of a good dart build. And so I did that, and I am very happy that I did it, because usually, since I'm vegan, I get the Beyond Meat, like $13 for a monster, whereas I think it was only about $17 for the super monster, but I get 2 meals out of it, whereas a regular monster, I only get 1. So it actually works out better, plus then that's another meal I don't have to worry about. So this lowers rate of fire and size and increases spread, but it decreases velocity and adds more projectiles. I think even though it is a loss of size, we haven't done Convergence on one of these dart builds before, but I feel like it's actually going to be more beneficial in the long run. I think that we will notice a larger damage increase, especially giving the darts a better chance to target who they need to target. Because between Calibrate, Convergence, all that good stuff, we should have some incredible targeting. And we've got charge shots. I mean, that was a pretty quick Champion Celestial kill. The lowered rate of fire is definitely noticeable, I'm not gonna lie. That, honestly, like, we definitely can't get any more double taps at this point, because it's gonna slow down the time between shots too much. Definitely grab Rancor. So we were able to get this build ticking without grabbing an Obsession, which is also nice. We are at Seraph already, by the way. So yeah, the food situation has been interesting, and so you also have to get creative with, like, okay, how much do you want to spend eating out? And, you know, if you do eat out, you don't want to just keep going to the same places, like, especially because we live in, it's a suburban area, but it's like slightly rural. And so we don't have a ton of options, especially for me. There's not a ton of vegan options. So like, we've been doing Carl's Jr. because they actually have the Beyond Burger, which is really good, but I can only have that so many times before I get sick of it. And a lot of the local restaurants around here don't have vegan options because, you know, Texas. You got that dang old barbecue, you got your Tex-Mex, and it's like, oh, we got a vegetarian option and dang old spinach enchilada. We just took like a whole bag of spinach and threw it inside some enchiladas, didn't even cut it up at all. So you get one there dang old big old leaf of lettuce or spinach. I mean, it's fine. I appreciate that there's at least a vegetarian option, but it's like, really, you couldn't do anything better than spinach enchiladas? Like maybe throw some mushrooms in there or something? So it's more of like, okay, well, we could go take out and go drive and get it, but you know, that's more effort, especially since it also requires driving a bit to get there. You have to be like not lazy, and the increased time and all that, you know, it's a whole thing. But it has also, like, I appreciate the challenge, and I appreciate that it's like, you know, I feel good that we're doing the right thing as well. You know, not putting anyone at risk by going to the grocery store when we really shouldn't. I've really been happy about that. You know, I worried that we would struggle with it. And you know, it's interesting because it's like the curve is far from flattening, but Texas is already talking about reopening economies. And I'm like, I understand that you want to make sure everything is okay, but dude, that seems super spooky. I would be very concerned about that, honestly. So I'm hoping that, you know, if they do it, that they do it in a way that isn't gonna really jeopardize the health of people. But unfortunately, like, if you say, yeah, so the beaches are open, parks are open, then I fear that we could have like a second wave. I mean, obviously I'm not an epidemiologist, so I don't actually know. But I would strongly prefer that this goes away sooner rather than later. And I feel like reopening things is just asking for things to keep going and potentially even get worse again. Because at the moment, we have more infected than we did when the lockdown started. And so if the lockdown is canceled, then we might end up in a situation where we have a spike. I'm thinking that we want to start working towards core shielding. So that's something that I am concerned about, and also why I'm like, I really want to make sure that if we can avoid exacerbating the problem, that we do. Because if we're going to reopen parks and stuff like that, then that means that there's more of a chance of it spreading, more people having it, and so contributing to the spread by potentially infecting someone who then goes to a park because they're, I mean, I'm gonna say it, they're irresponsible. Then now they've infected more people because we infected them. It's a whole thing. And so, you know, it really is a crazy time, and I don't want to sit here and talk about COVID the whole time. It's just, it's still pretty prevalent. You know, at this point, I don't have much Animal Crossing to talk about because I've kind of gotten to a point where it's not that I'm not having fun with it anymore, but the fun is wavering. I'm kind of getting to the diminishing returns. You know, I got my basement. I just need to pay that off. It's Sunday, so I stonked up for the week. But, you know, it only goes so far, honestly. Grab some shield cooldown. It's a great game, and I'm glad that it came out when it did. I've enjoyed the morning routine, but I'm also realizing that, like, that's an hour that I could be spending recording for YouTube. You know, making sure that I've got Twitch VODs ready to go and stuff like that. And so, even though I do enjoy it, it's getting to the point where it's like, that hour of chores every day is not as cool as I used to see it as. I may end up like stopping the Animal Crossing, or, you know, cutting it down to just be like, oh, hey, some friends are hopping on. We're going to go play around on each other's islands. Yeah, seems like a good time. Let's go do some of that. And, you know, if you guys didn't see the Monster Train series last week, or I guess it's currently going on as of you guys seeing this video. I would highly recommend checking it out. Even if you don't watch the series, check the game out. I am incredibly surprised at how well made that game is, especially for one that's like, it's beta to early access. Like, it's the beta before they've even put it in early access on Steam, and the game is incredible. Core shielding, so now start picking up some solar hearts for the increased burn damage. It's a roguelike deck builder, and I know like the gut feeling when you hear when you hear roguelike deck builder is to be like, oh, another one. But seriously, like, it did enough new things to feel different while doing enough things the same to not have experimented and done things the wrong way. Like, I feel like they took good parts of deck builders and not bad parts. And the balance is surprisingly well done for a game that, again, is like beta to the early access, assistant to the regional manager. So it's one of those that, like, I wasn't sure how I would feel about it when it first came out. And also it was like real-time online multiplayer. I'm like, this is a real-time card battler? I'm like, I just got into One Step from Eden, and I am gonna spend ages not sucking at it. Or, sorry, spend ages sucking at it before I can maybe potentially not suck at it. I don't necessarily need another real-time card battler, but it turns out it is not real-time. Yes, absolutely, give me a solar heart. We have core shielding and firefly, so we can afford that. And let's crank that burn damage up to 11. Oh god, the rate of fire decrease from Convergence, though. That's the rough part of Convergence that I wasn't prepared for. But we do have a solid build here. I mean, our damage output is just staggering. The one thing I did pick up, and may end up making its way onto Co-op Sunday, is Civ 6 went on the largest sale that I think I've ever seen any Civ go on sale for. Like, the entire Platinum Edition that has all of the DLC was like 47 bucks, usually 176 or something like that. So that was an immediate pickup, and you know, I may even end up pulling it out for a little bit of Turn-Based Thursday. I've been enjoying, like, doing these themed streams has meant that I'm kind of forced to keep things fresh by researching more games in the genre instead of just being like, hey, this is a game that I think I would enjoy. Oh wait, there's not really a place for it on one of these streams. And so it's been like a fun challenge to find new games and also bring out old games in the genre. Like, I pulled Frozen Cortex out from the graveyard for last Turn-Based Thursday. You probably saw the VOD here on YouTube. And that was one that I forgot how much I enjoyed that game. If you don't know what Frozen Cortex is, it is like American football, but with robots, and it's turn-based tactics. So you kind of like program the moves you want your dudes to do and try to predict what the enemy is going to do with their dudes. And it's a lot of fun. And the strategy is surprisingly deep. And there's a lot more turn-based games out there that aren't just, hey, look, we're XCOM, but different. Or, you know, it's another turn-based roguelike. Because while those are good, I have played a lot of XCOM games, and the majority of them aren't nearly as good as XCOM. I would rather just play XCOM. Which, I mean, there is the new surprise XCOM coming out that nobody knew about until literally like the last second of, hey, by the way, there's a new XCOM coming in a couple weeks. But if you're gonna just be XCOM but worse, I'm like, I would prefer you try some more unique stuff. And, you know, that's just in general something I'm huge on, is if you're gonna do an existing formula, try to just find a way to do it different. It doesn't have to be better, but at least experiment. And so I always appreciate when, especially indie developers, take an existing formula and try to make it better. And again, like, I feel like that's what Monster Train did, and why I'm such a huge fan of it at the moment, is they took the roguelike deck building genre and added a really unique spin on it. And the early access release is going to have so much more content than the beta has right now. I'm just like incredibly excited for it. Also, like, spoiler alert for the future Runt9 reviews on it. I already think the game is good and it's going to get better after early access comes out. Yeah, yes please. Yep, it is likely to be in a reasonably high tier on my list. So we're starting to get into a little bit of spicy territory, but I mean, this is the dart build should still excel here. We are going to reach limits from just a not being able to spam quite fast enough or having enough projectiles. So I don't want to pick up more... I don't want to pick up more double taps, but at this point, okay, the collision damage there is kind of rude. But I'm not against picking up more twin strikes if we see them. And I may even consider the volley tree, but I feel like that's going to be a bit too much. So many Celestials. All right, get a full charge here and try to really kill them. You know, instead of like halfway kill them, just really kill them. Give me a reroll on that one. Honestly, yeah, the rate of fire does kind of hurt, but give me a heavy caliber. I'm okay with the recoil. Increased projectile size gives us even more damage. And increased projectile damage increases the chance of it killing an enemy instantly and piercing them for wave clear. Yeah, the extra rate of fire decrease from Convergence is hitting a lot harder than I was prepared for it to do. So yeah, that's kind of what's been going on, you know, new streams, trying out some really fun games, and you know, I'm in this scenario where there's so many good games coming out, and I've got like a backlog of games that I want to play on my own time just for relaxation purposes. Because like Startup Company has been a lot of fun. Let's dodge this. Radio Silence, by the way. Getting a little spicy here. Because I also picked up like Rise of Industry, played through the tutorial, and then haven't touched it since, even though it seems like exactly my kind of game. It's more of an economic focus on a city builder, and I love that thought of focusing on the economic play more so than, you know, the network building or, you know, the zoning and all that. Like, you still have some of that, but it's mostly like build up your production lines and, you know, buy and sell goods at the right prices and try to manufacture for cheaper. We're on wave 200. This is a radio silence situation. Also grab the upgrade before we do. We'll grab another heavy caliber. I think the increased damage will be quite nice for us. Okay, Scion down, focus on Seraph, Seraph down, wave 200 cleared. All right, so yeah, that extra heavy caliber definitely put in some good work. It's funny how low our score is for wave 200. We are still under 1 million. I guess there's just a lot of XP orbs that I missed out on. I also didn't take Bravado this round, that's a part of it. All right, so keep in mind you do have a recoil now, so you have to worry about the recoil crash damage going backwards. And remember, the ABCs of charge shot, always be charging. This is a fun run. This is exactly what I wanted, just a nice dart run in Nova Drift, kind of close out the day. You know, I'll record the rest of the Nova Drift episodes throughout the week. And still don't know which of the mini games that I have right now that we're going to do for the following week on the channel. But fortunately, I have a few days to figure that out, which it will take a while. I mean, at this point, I'm like, I'll just do another week of Monster Train, or another week of Good Company, or maybe I'll do Startup Company, or Rise of Industry, or One Step from Eden. Although I don't think people would watch much One Step from Eden because of just how absolutely awful I am. Like, I am the epitome of bad. All right, we are in a very spiced situation. We might be dead here. Hoping for some good essence sap. Looking for, like, some shield cooldown would be great. Shield come off cooldown, please. I'm not even worrying too much about getting full charges right now. Just like, don't die. Okay, upgrade. All right, improved shields. Something that we should have had like 10 hours ago. So we're getting pretty close to almost permanent radio silence, but we're gonna avoid it. You know, I'll try to chat a bit more, but my brain is a little bit fried at the moment, so the banter, I think, is just not quite there. I also have a bit of a headache, which is part of the reason why I'm only recording the one right now. I haven't eaten anything today, so that's part of the issue. Radio silence, I want to deal with this wave real quick. All right. I was charging up a shot, sat in front of the Scion for too long. So this tends to be a reasonably typical dart run for us, right in that 1.1, 1.2 million range. So, you know, you can't hate anything that ends up over 1 million. This is my dart spam build. So that's a dart spam build that gets us up to 3rd place on our high score list. Good episode. So we're going to leave that off here. Thank you so much for watching. If you enjoyed the episode, let me know your feedback, likes, dislikes, comments, all that good stuff. Subscribe to the channel for just loads and loads of content coming out all the time. So definitely check all that out. There's a link tree in the description below that has links to Twitch, Twitter, and Discord. Come hang out with me and the rest of the community. I'd love to have you. But until the next episode, I'm Runt9, and I'll see you later.